the slow leak. We're going to explore how the wrong counsel or misleading counsel advice may actually be quietly shrinking your net worth. Ouch, is all I got to say to that.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward together with the Dekker team.
And then I'm going to say that on the Life's Inside Track episodes, on over 700 of them now, our endeavor, what we're working to do is give you insider tips, making house home, building wealth wisely through real estate so that it's the right counsel. So if you haven't watched all of them, you can go to the YouTube channel, you can go to chri.ca or 99.1 FM Family Radio, or even the Dekker Team YouTube channel, and get, I think, solid counsel that ought not mislead you.
Yeah. You talked about slow leak, and we don't generally think of a slow leak in someone's equity or cash when they're selling or buying a house. But there are things, especially when you're selling, that can cause that slow leak. And just like a slow leak in your tire, I just had to buy a new tire because I had a nail in mine and it's slow leak. And
you forgot to tell me about that upset.
Well, you knew about the slow leak. You just didn't know I had to buy a new tire. And so the thing is, it can be disastrous.
Right.
If you have a slow leak, your nail in your tire is what I had. And then over time, you could be driving on the highway, that nail could come out, the slow leak could happen now, turn into a fast leak, and suddenly you have a blowout, you could have an accident. There could be all kinds of disastrous things. And what's interesting is you were mentioning that there was a survey done, right?
Well, statistics, right? There's stats from Zillow that say when someone puts their house on the market and they actually ask a little more than the market will bear.
So that's one of the key areas that overpricing is one of the key things we're going to talk about.
Where you might get bad counsel because people just want you to hear what you want to hear, not really with intention. It's never with intention, I don't think.
It's not malicious.
No, none of it's malicious. It's just, it's not a science, for one. The last 10% is subjective anyway. But what happens, and Zillow has seen this again and again in statistics, you're going to sell your home likely for about 8 to 10% less, and it take 2 to 3 times longer if it is priced beyond what the market will allow it to be. Eventually, it will sell, because it's never a question of, is it saleable? Will it sell? Yes.
So what you're saying is somebody has a $700,000 house and they price it. Now, that's what the market would demand, is 700, and they price it at, say, 800, for instance.
Right.
Okay. They're not only not going to get 800.
Or you mean 700?
No, they're not going to get the 800, their asking price.
Right.
They're not going to get 750. The problem is they're not even going to get 700.
Right.
The stats show that it's going to sell for 8 to 10% less than market value, not less than you were asking, less than market. So that means that person's going to lose probably about $70,000
on average.
And 3 times as long. And if the average time to sell a house is about 45 days, 3 times as long, we're getting into like almost 6 months.
Almost half a year. Yeah. Not quite, but real close. It gets there fast.
That's a long time to be on the market, dealing with showings, dealing with the emotional.
And now we're talking, maybe it's going to sell somewhere around 630.
Yeah.
So, and is this true? We can give you so many stories where it's true. Yeah, and you've watched it. And when you see something come onto the market and then it sits and it sits, the reality is everybody I know always says what's wrong with it.
Yeah, and that's one of the strategies we use for our buyers that are looking for great value. There's 2 strategies. One is you find something that comes on that maybe was a little lower than market, and you pounce on it before anybody else gets it. That's one of the things we do. We're watching that market, and instantaneously when it comes on, you get notified if it's the right property. We're getting in our cars. We're going to see it. If it's a commercial property and the numbers work, sometimes we're getting on the computer and typing the offer before we even go see it. It's just going to be conditional on seeing it. Because generally in a multi-unit, you're not going to get to see every unit anyways.
You're not.
So it's going to be conditional on viewing and inspection and all that kind of stuff. So that's the one. The second one is a little more obscure.
Yeah.
I'm actually hand looking through the listings, looking at the history. Has it been listed before? How long has it been listed total? Where is the trajectory of the price? And will we be able to, because now they got an anxious, motivated, tired seller, will we be able to buy it below market value because it started too high in the first place? So that's one of the strategies we employ for our buyers.
I know. And then one of the other things that can get in the way that creates a slow leak is bad representation of the property in the marketplace. And when I say bad, I don't mean poor language or bad grammar or...
Well, that does it too.
Yeah, but a lot of times we'll write in jot notes and you want to be captivating with your language. But often when we write descriptions, they all sound kind of the same.
Or
when we read
they're
them.
embellished for a house.
Right.
You know, it sounds like it's a 10.
Yeah.
But when you get there, it's a 6.
Right.
5
or a 3.
in condition, I'm talking, or cleanliness or sparkle or remodeling. So if you're getting the wrong buyer.
Right. Into the house.
Into the house.
Well, that's the conversation about price too. It's the wrong buyer.
Yeah, because they can buy so much more if it's overpriced. They can buy so much more for that.
And then the wrong person is seeing it because they're not looking in that price range. So the person that will fall in love with it never got to see it.
Yeah.
Because it's beyond their price point. So certainly the description and how that's verbalized matters. And speaking to a target audience, people think, well, that's going to leave all my other potentials out. Yeah, but with every property, there's a probability of who it's going to appeal to. So you speak to everybody, you speak to nobody.
Yeah.
And then pictures.
You know what else matters?
Oh, pictures?
Yeah, pictures. But you know what matters is you matter. And one of the first steps to getting good guidance in selling or buying is to get a clarity call. And you can do that simply by going to dekkerteam.com, clicking on the link, book it in our calendar. And right now our calendar, it's my calendar, but in the future, we might just have both our calendars in there. And you can pick who you'd rather have a call with Yetta or myself.
Absolutely. And so pictures is another piece, right? We don't want to, people now search online more than anything else and rule it out before they even get started. So we might think, a little dark in that corner, maybe not showing things well. Who cares? It's part of the slow leak that's going to cause loss of equity. These things all work together. It's not one thing that causes the issue. Yeah. It's the combination of these things.
Absolutely. And, you talk about those photos. Some sellers will spend a lot of money on furniture and stuff for a vacant property. We're talking thousands per month for furniture. And that can be very costly. Or we can do what we call artificially staged or
virtual staging. And that can work really well.
That can work really well because people can visualize what it'll look like with those in there. Yeah. So, when your options are clear, your wisdom will flow. And so what we're going to do in segment C is we're going to help you decide what's the difference in the agent. How do I pick an agent?
How do I make sure I'm going to get the good counsel that we've been talking about and I don't get the slow leak?
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward